Hi everybody, Dacob here. Welcome back to the Fashion Bunker Channel Talk time today. And I'm going to read a couple of your comments. So chill, sit, relax, drink something. And I'm wearing something very special. Somebody very special, you know who you are, thank you very much, has sent this to the Fashion Bunker. This is a prototype from Y3, from Yohji Yamamoto's Y3 collection. It's kind of like a poncho cape thing. Never really went into production, I suppose. So I'm wearing it for the occasion. Thank you very much. I have a couple of interesting comments. Neil Wong on the Luxury Isn't Luxury Anymore video says, let me just shift this a little bit here. Hopefully we can. Oh, Dacob dearest, hitting the bull eyes once again. I love that quote on luxury is not vulgar, but it's so vulgar right now. Unfortunately, a lot of it is. 1. People complaining that it's a wet market shopping in Chanel or Hermes in Paris. Well, what do you expect when everyone wants to go there to score a bag? They have no choice but to have a system, Hermes, or to do it quick. Else people behind the line will be complaining. If you want great experiences, don't go to the main store. 2. I only buy Hermes pre-loved nowadays because no luxury brand is safe from masses, not even Goyard. Even Hermes is not so protected, but at least the price point is helping. I used to look up to Chanel and love how a simple black kilted bag can elevate an outfit and a look, but these days, it just screams basic. 3. The biggest culprit are the consumers, from basic people thinking all these double C logos, necklaces, earrings, and in-your-face logo can make them classier, to the YouTubers turning Chanel into fast fashion as they purchase it like no tomorrow and throw it away after a few videos. It is so vulgar. Yes, the YouTube thing, I've mentioned in other videos of mine in the past, is complicated. People really, like lemmings, they buy into this kind of, okay, the more unboxings I make and the more subscribers I'm going to get, which is sick. It has nothing to do with the love of a certain product, really. The Hermes protected by prices, unfortunately, partially you're right, partially you're wrong, because Hermes, unlike Chanel, who has experienced slight downfall in growth in 2016 as opposed to 2015, Hermes has experienced a growth, and that mostly thanks to their leather goods. They have purchased, I think, 3 more leather production facilities somewhere in France, and all of a sudden, Kelly's Birkins and Clemence bags are not that rare to find anymore. There are no year-long waiting lists anymore. They're kind of not saying it, but it seems as if, they're upping their production numbers because they want to, reach their quotas. They want to have their growth every year. So you're going to be seeing more Kellys and Birkins coming your way in the stores, definitely. But nevertheless, these boutiques are not as full as they used to be a couple of years back, because they've pushed their prices so high. And I don't even think the prices are pushed to protect kind of from the masses. I think they just push the prices because they can, because people keep buying. So they just want more money. They're like, okay, more. Greed. If they really want to make things better and pep up their image, they have to cut on production quantity and up standards of control. And the tanneries, the leather, the luxury quality leather, there is none left really for the amount that all of these brands require. So there's a very, very small amount of really high quality leather, and the rest is just not that high in quality. And either you're lucky to get that 1 bag out of 50 that is made with that leather, otherwise you're going to get second-grade leather. And that's due to the fact that so much is produced. They've gone from 4 collections a year to 12 collections a year per brand, which is, you got to produce those bags, and you need that leather for that. There's not enough fucking animals out there to kill to get that leather, and not every animal has the right leather, without the scarrings and this and that. So it's a mess, huge mess. So I say, cut down the quantity you produce. Not necessarily the price, but cut down the quantity because you're overproducing. All of you are overproducing. D, how you doing, D, sweetie? On a Chanel 255 bag shape loss issue video. Okay, are we talking about the Chanel 255 bag here, or what? It would seem that I relate to this bag, perhaps more than I care to admit. But what the hell, I'll share. Let's skip the overstuffing comment for a moment, but a strong, sturdy bottom, I have. Although it is a little more droopy as years go by. Soft skin, that changes over time. Oh well, yes, and that has softened a bit too. Check and check. More wrinkles? Check. Secrets inside? Check. Well loved indeed, and I'm lucky to have someone sweet who appreciates that this is the way it's supposed to be. I hope everyone can appreciate their bag as it gets older and beautifully worn in. Patina, there it is again. Beside that word in the dictionary, you will either see a picture of a well-loved Chanel 255 or a picture of yours truly. D, this is freaking amazing. I love it. And, more people, some people don't read through all the comments. That's why it's here now. People need to know this. This is so incredible, amazing on so many levels. First of all, so true. My entire video on the shape loss of a Chanel bag could have been literally, another layer could have been literally all about aging and us not accepting the fact that we have to age. And we have to accept it. We have to embrace it. Some people even say, it should be a privilege to get older, not a burden. And yet our society makes it a burden for us, makes it troublesome, makes us worry about getting old, makes us worry that we won't be able to afford being old, makes us think that we're ugly if we get old, makes us think that we're not desirable if we get old, makes us think literally that we are just an obstacle to society once we get old. But why doesn't that society ever stop a moment and think that actually, when we're young, we're working our ass off, paying taxes and everything in order for society to keep on working once we get older. That money and all those taxes that we contributed with are supposed to let the community live on. And yet once you're old, when you can't work enough anymore, society just says, fuck off. I don't need you anymore. I need the youth to suck their blood, their energy away from them to sustain myself. It's awful, and we have to change the attitude. We have to change perspective. There still are some societies out there where the elderly are so respected. And by elderly, you're going to think grandmas, grandpas. I mean, sometimes you're considered old already when you hit like 25, when you hit 35, when you hit 45. Like classifications. It's super strange, and I find it disgusting and appalling. And good for you, Dee, for mentioning this, because literally this Chanel, this product, this object, it's like we are so objectified on so many levels. When you're young, you're objectified. You're turned into this kind of like object of sexual desires. When you're older, you're objectified as a thing that's no longer useful to society. When you're a baby, you're objectified because you're this cute little thing. You're not humanized. You're a little alien, you're a little cute thing that your parents and your aunts and uncles can cuddle and squish your cheeks and stuff and play with you like you're a freaking toy. We got to get away from that, and we got to understand that there's other stuff that's more important. And if we do want to be happy long term, we have to embrace every step of the way, every chapter of our lives, which means every age in our life. It's the way it is. That's life. You can't stop it. You can't change it. There's no freaking La Mer or who knows what other cream out there, as luxurious and expensive as it is. None of them are going to turn back the hands of time. None of them. None of them. It's just a waste of your money and energy. You got to let go, and you got to understand that with age comes so much great things as well. Knowledge, wisdom, if you're lucky enough, because some people are so freaking stupid, they don't want to grow. They just freeze. And time just like kind of, in a weird way, keeps ticking, but the brain just stops. And you gotta change that. You gotta switch that around, and you gotta start growing, and you gotta start evolving. That's the only way to survive is evolution. Cockroaches know it, so we should learn from them, perhaps. And I say cockroaches because they're the ones most likely to survive in any instance. Given a nuclear disaster, cockroaches would most likely survive. Maybe even rats. PC, how you doing, PC, sweetie? On luxury isn't luxury anymore. Brilliant commentary, Dacob. Recently, I went to a Chanel boutique, and it was a relatively small one. I was greeted by a security guard at the door, one midway down the short hall, and one at the back, close to the perfumes. There were just 4 customers in the store. Sorry, but it seemed somewhat sterile in emotion initially. I didn't feel comfy looking around at the beautiful bags. One lady was watching her Chanel bag being wrapped by her SA. They seemed so somber. Not to be mean, but it was like a funeral between those two. Again, I don't know the whole story, but if I had just purchased such a beautiful bag, I would be ecstatic. Thankfully, I had a nice SA who came up to me and asked if he could help me. I told him I wanted a pure parfum of number 22. He ended up going in the bag for me because they only had the exclusives eau de parfums in front. I told him I was just learning about fragrances, and he said he's relatively new too. He has been studying Chanel perfumes for about 3 years. He talked about his dog and the new fragrance, Gabrielle, and he said he would email more info about that. It was a happy transaction because of him. However, I came in knowing what I wanted because of you and Lanier, and left right after the purchase. I definitely wouldn't feel comfortable browsing, and the store was certainly not set up like that because of all the security in such a small space. I asked, "Is the president in the house?" The guards laughed. I didn't notice that much security in Louis Vuitton boutique down the road. I understand it though. We live in hard times and people are desperate. There have been incidents of people in groups coming in luxury stores and stealing. So sad. I wonder how Coco would feel like walking in one of her stores now. Interesting thought. Dear PC, this is very fascinating. You are so good in writing. I could really visualize this sterile, aseptic, almost clinical space, almost like, we were in the morgue. And it does feel like that many a time. But I explained to you in the comments, so you already know, but I'm going to tell all the other fellow viewers that haven't perhaps read this comment yet, a lot of people, a lot of rich people do not really like to show their emotions. Money usually does not go with emotions. A lot of people like to be very reserved, sterile, and like to be treated with distance. And I noticed that a lot in luxury boutiques. And I noticed that because either they're arrogant or, or just because they've been educated that way to just remain poised, and poised in my vocabulary is something different, but anyway, poised in the term of just collected. And I'm purchasing this Chanel bag. Wrap it up, please. Why do I need to show you how enthusiastic I am about purchasing it? It's none of your business. I have the money. I'm not excited for spending $6,000. There could be many reasons why a person just doesn't react. And so a good essay is also educated to deal with somebody like me who's super happy and high when I'm in a Chanel boutique, and also to deal with the snobby bitch, also to deal with a tacky new rich customer, and also learns how to deal with somebody who's in there just to try and steal, and other myriad of facets of different variations of customers that could enter the boutique. So, of course, it was shocking to you because you have a different approach to these things, but I understand it in a way. A lot of these boutiques are there for the rich. And they do have all of these other products as well. And, these products are also there that are more affordable, for a couple $100 instead of tens of thousands of dollars. And then these pieces appeal to the real lovers of a brand that, I'm ecstatic when I go to purchase a pure parfum from the Les Exclusives range. The pure perfume of number 22 is magical. It is a freaking poem that you reread by re-sniffing it over and over again. It's incredible. It's so, and Chanel the brand should be freaking proud to have that fragrance in their boutiques. Should feel privileged to be able to sell that freaking incredible fragrance, which by many is considered better, light years better than number 5. I consider it better too in many respects. In other respects, I don't. But it's a number 22 to me is also like one of my top 4 Chanel fragrances of all time. So that cold attitude is something I'm used to sometimes, and it's sad, very sad indeed, because I like emotions. I like when people show happiness, or also sadness. I can deal with sadness, It's a part of human behavior. What I am not so good in dealing with is when somebody's just cold-blooded, emotionless, dead inside, or shows me like death from inside by just not showing emotions. Robots, But to each his own, I say. What saddens me is that instances like this one surprise me less and less as time goes by. I would prefer to be shocked anew each time it happens, but unfortunately part of me is also numbing up with time, so I expect a certain coolness and coldness in some instances, and it doesn't surprise me anymore. And I'm sad that it doesn't surprise me anymore, because I have that fear that I might become like that one day, but I don't want to become like that one day, Jenna Rollins, and I love calling her Gina Rollins, but it's Jenna Rollins in one of my favorite movies of all time from John Cassavetes, Opening Night. Check out that movie if you haven't already. It begins with her saying, and she's kind of aging, and again we have this age process. She's aging in this movie. She's an actress, acting an actress in the movie. And it begins with a quote, and she says, when I was younger, emotions were so close to the surface. They were like right there. I could feel them on the surface, just ready to burst out. And the older I get, the deeper these emotions are. I'm finding it harder and harder to stay in touch with them. I think that's a beautiful way to begin a movie and a beautiful way to end this video. We go through life like trees. We get these circles that represent our age. The circles of the tree, when you cut the trunk of the tree, you see all those circles. They represent kind of the years and the age of the tree. But the tree also has this beautiful kind of cover, like so the skin that surrounds it on the outside. I call it skin because literally it's the skin of a tree. And it can be rough depending on how much it's been scarred. And it's there to protect that tree, and can be thicker and thicker and thicker the older the tree gets. That's how we are too. And I, for myself personally, always try to find a way to peel off a part of that thick, in some instances, metal shell. I always find a way to kind of cut through it and maybe bleed if necessary, but I want to feel that blood. I want to feel those emotions. I want to feel that energy. And as I grow with time, it gets harder and harder, but I work very hard to maintain a connection to those emotions and keep them on the surface. because it's what keeps you youthful. You know, you go to the doctor, you spend thousands of dollars every year on your peelings and your chemical peels and your liftings and stuff like that. You always like taking stuff off, coming closer to stuff. That's a mistake. It's from within that you gotta work on peeling off the surface. It's that soul that's inside of you that has to have the connection to the surface. You know, don't bury it underneath layers and layers and layers of denial, of delusions, of pain and suffering. Find a way to always push it to the surface. Because one day you might find out that it saves your life. So thank you guys so much for watching. Leave me comments in the comment section down below. If you haven't already, but do wish to, please subscribe to my channel here on YouTube. I'm also on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. The deeper you fear those emotions might get buried underneath, the more you have to remind yourself to never give up on love. Love you guys. See you soon. Take care. Bye.